This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, Donald Trump has made a lot of smart moves politically this time around. I will say that. The 47th president is smarter than the 45th. He knows who is a friend and who's an enemy out there. And he's made some terrific picks for his cabinet and for his advisors. And you know that because the media are losing their minds. He's batting about 900, I'll say, with his picks. I don't love them all, but I love most of them. And these are people who will carry out his agenda. He's not picking people based on, how they look or how many medals they won as a general. That's a good thing. What we're seeing right now from Trump is a good thing. But I think the greatest thing we're seeing right now is what Trump is forcing his adversaries to do. Right now, if you're a Democrat, if you're a member of the mainstream media, you are compelled to do a couple of things. You're compelled to defend an open border, to defend illegal aliens who are just wreaking havoc in many communities, many blue states and blue cities. He's forcing Democrat mayors and Democrat governors to say they will go to jail to defend illegal aliens in their community. He's forcing sanctuary cities to double down and say, we're here to protect the criminals, not our citizens, not our taxpayers. We are going to defend illegal aliens who rape children. That's what you're seeing in Massachusetts right now. That's what you're seeing in Colorado. That's what you're seeing in California. Yes, your elected officials, they're not there to serve you. They're there to serve illegal alien criminals. And the illegal alien criminals know that. So you have a magnet in Massachusetts and Colorado and other blue states. They're going to go there, the criminals, the bad guys, the gang members, because they know the mayors, the governors will protect them. He's also forcing Democrats and the media to defend government waste, to defend bureaucrats who don't even show up for work. He with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to shine a light on waste, fraud, pork, and the media and the Democrats are going to say, oh, that hack, that bureaucrat who makes $200,000 a year and no one really knows what he does. Yeah, we have his back. They are prepared to defend a $7 trillion budget with just vast amounts of waste. Musk and Vivek, two brilliant guys, two brilliant businessmen, have the job. It's an impossible job to find all the waste, but they're going to find a lot of it. And I'm excited about that. I'm not sure which excites me more. With 56 days to go before Trump takes office, Tom Homan versus blue state governors and mayors, that's pretty exciting because Tom Homan means business. He has a job to do and he's going to do it. And they're not going to stop him. That is going to be fascinating to watch. And then you have Vivek and Musk going after these worthless bureaucrats on January 20th. Many of them are already planning to quit or retire. They don't even have to lift a finger or make an official firing of these people. They will leave and we will all be better off. The government will work more efficiently in a year, 2 years than it does now, thanks to these guys, thanks to Trump. And the Democrats and the media will be forced to say, oh no, we want to continue to spend $1 million to find out if, quails have sex after we put them, inject them with cocaine or some other ridiculous, wasteful program that we're funding. They're also going to cut some programs that should have been cut decades ago. I want to get to this. I have been, for my entire adult life, I'd say for the last 30, 40 years, I've been asking this question. Every time there's a Republican president or Republican Congress, Trump had the House and the Senate his first 2 years, 2016 to 2018. Did they cut the federal funding for NPR, for PBS? Did they cut federal funding for Planned Parenthood? No, they did not. And I will never understand why. Why not? Why is that not your first priority? Why do you not say NPR is a Democrat propaganda outfit? They can continue to do what they want and they continue to attack us, but we're not going to pay. We're not going to use taxpayer money to pay for these hacks. Planned Parenthood? Most Americans are against federal funding for abortions. So why do we spend $300-400 million a year for Planned Parenthood? Why isn't that the first thing they do? I have some hope here. I have some optimism. I think it's coming. January 20, get ready, because all these worthless fat cat hacks at NPR and PBS, they're in for a rude awakening. I think finally, maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I think they start here. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy laid out their plan in an essay, in a column in the Wall Street Journal, and they listed 3 places they plan to start. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things they can't touch. A lot of the entitlements, Social Security, veterans benefits, they can't and they won't touch. Musk said he'd like to cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. That is probably being too optimistic. I don't think he'll be able to do that, but they do say they have already identified $500 billion that they can cut. And most Americans, I'm going to say 75-80% of Americans will stand and applaud and say, good. Why were we paying for that in the first place? Here's 3 things they say, according to the Wall Street Journal. Musk and Ramaswamy said that they weren't planning on cutting veterans' health care. Instead, they listed 3 areas. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which receives $535 million a year. International organizations, NGOs that we pay to facilitate illegal immigration over our border, they receive $1.5 billion in grants. Can we just stop that? Stop paying for our own demise? And number 3, Planned Parenthood and what they describe as progressive groups that receive $300 million per year. Now, the defense of that, the only defense I've ever heard of taxpayers paying for PBS, NPR, or Planned Parenthood is, it's not that much money. It's a drop in the bucket. All right, I don't care. If they were giving NPR $2, I would say, why? Why are taxpayers paying for left-wing propaganda? I mean, it started out decades ago as an alternative for children who wanted to watch Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street. And everyone said, oh, that's a good thing. Why don't we do that? Why don't we kick in some money and help them come up with quality programming for kids? Now, we know it has grown into this little fiefdom for left-wing propagandists. We know that. So stop paying them. If they can't make it in the marketplace, screw them. This is not how we should spend our money. I started looking for places that are most blatantly wasteful. You're not going to find a better place to start than NPR and PBS. I just Googled it because I know, at least in Boston, there's a PBS outfit that is just so corrupt. Check this out. This is from the Boston Globe. GBA, they had some layoffs at GBH because they don't get any ratings. They couldn't make it on their own. Nobody watches, nobody listens, but they have this palatial office, this palatial studio, which taxpayers fund. We fund the unbelievable, lavish studios for these people who couldn't make it on their own. If you put them at a commercial radio station or TV station, they'd be out of work in a month. And yet, somehow, some way, they got taxpayers to pay. So they laid off some small time people, some producers, and whatever aid. They had after the layoffs, according to the Globe, left untouched were the high salaries of the 16 top executives at the station, who together earned $5.9 million in total compensation. 9 of them earned more than $300,000. 9 executives at one PBS station in one city make over 300 grand. Why? This is just welfare for these brats. They have a host, Jim Braude. He's the host of Boston Public Radio Show. He earned $491,000 in the last fiscal year. This is last year. Almost $500,000 for a host of a show that nobody watches. And if he can make it on his own, great. Go for it. Sell the ads. See what you can do. Why would taxpayers ever be on the hook for that? It's a remarkable thing. Republicans have had the control over the purse strings many, many times over the last 40, 50 years, and they've done nothing about this. I've asked this for over and over again. Why? Why would a Republican ever sign a budget, agree to a budget to appropriate money for a host of a show nobody watches who makes $500,000 a year? I'm sorry, Vivek, if you're watching, Elon, if you're watching, here's where you start. Right here. These people have had it too good for too long. Is it going to balance the budget? Of course not. There's plenty of other places you can go, but start here. Start with NPR, PBS, and Planned Parenthood. Just a reminder, I don't know how much this woman makes, but this is the CEO of the PBS or NPR. I don't know what under what umbrella she falls, but she's the CEO of NPR. This is I got to get her name here. This is remarkable. She talks about what their goal, what their mission is at NPR, and she says it's not telling the truth. The truth is a distraction to NPR. Watch this.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Hold the phone. The CEO of NPR, again, one of the biggest welfare recipients there are out there. That's what she is. This is a welfare queen. Says the truth is a distraction from getting things done. That would be bad if she were at CBS or NBC or CNN. She is being paid by the taxpayers, and she says the truth is getting in the way. Why? Why are we giving her a nickel? Right here, Vivek. Right here, Elon. This person, I mean, again, she can make it on her own. I mean, she's a very accomplished, smart person. Let's see how she does in the private sector. Let me get her salary here. Let me see what we're paying. Compensation for, what's her name? Catherine Mayer. See if you can find that for me, Iron. I guarantee it's millions. So why? Why have we been doing this? God, it's been driving me nuts. I feel like for half my life. Why are we doing this? Why? Planned Parenthood. We knocked them down to only $300 million a year. Why? Why would taxpayers? I mean, even if you're pro-abortion, you think taxpayers should give money to Planned Parenthood? What? That day one, January 20th, Elon, January 20th, Vivek, put this person out of work. It might not, again, balance the budget, but it'll make people understand that you mean business. This has to end. This idea that we're paying these people who are propagandists, who are just left-wing hacks. Just we're paying them for them to advance their agenda, which is against no Republican believes agrees with them. Their job is to stop Republicans, to help Democrats. This would be like giving tax money to George Stephanopoulos or Rachel Maddow. Why?
What I'm finding is a salary of $493,000.
I guarantee it's more. I guarantee bonuses, everything else. She's making much, much more. So Marjorie Taylor Greene went on Fox News yesterday and was asked about this, and I was somewhat encouraged, but not enough. I want them to be forceful and say, day one, this ends. Day one. Again, it's not the largest item in the budget, but it's symbolic. Why would you ever expect taxpayers to pay for this? And she says they're going to look at it. Not good enough, MTG. Not just look at it. Say it. Day one, they're gone. Day one, we stop wasting taxpayers' money on this. These people who are indeed the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Tell us what you see as the most government waste.
It's all over. Every single government department, program, grant programs, contracts, it is everywhere. And so when we look into a deep dive into this massive problem that's caused America to be $36 trillion in debt, we're going to have to go into all kinds of buckets. And that's how I'll be separating things on the oversight subcommittee on DOGE. We'll be looking at everything from government-funded media programs like NPR that spread nothing but Democrat propaganda. We'll be going into grant programs that fund things like sex apps in Malaysia, toilets in Africa, all kinds of programs that don't help the American people. I want to talk to the people at the Pentagon and ask them why they can't find billions of dollars every single year and why they fail their audit. But not just that.
There you go. That's good. That's good. She's going to chair the subcommittee on DOGE. She's going to be working with Vivek and Elon Musk. So I think they will do the right thing. And again, the media will say, oh, it's nothing. It's 1%. It's less than 1%. It doesn't matter. A lot of this is symbolic. We know there's massive government waste. I was just looking. Let me try to find this. Look at it. This government buildings, people who work for the federal government are still working from home. They don't go to work. One department has a 6% in-person rate right now. The average is like 12% of federal government employees who go to work, which is a good thing because once they say you have to go to work, you have to actually show up for your 200 and something thousand a year. A lot of them are going to quit because the free ride is over. No more just sitting at home doing whatever you're doing. You're not working. Everyone knows they're not doing anything. Elon Musk cut 80% of the staff when he bought Twitter, and it is operating more efficiently and better than ever. That's his job right now. Do it to the federal government, the largest workforce in the world, 2 million employees. Do to them what you did to Twitter. Do to them what any good businessman would do if he took over a company. There's more waste in our federal government than any organization in the world. There's got to be lots of places to cut. Again, there's places you can't cut. We understand that. 2/3 of the budget is untouchable, but that means 1/3 is touchable, cuttable. Get to work. And I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to watching these worthless bureaucrats hit the bricks, try to find a real job. This is long overdue. I can't believe we waited so long for this. Trump 1.0 should have done this. I think this time he will. I think this time he means business, and he means it on day one. On day one, that Catherine Mayer, Jim Browdy, you're gone. You're done. See if you can do it. Make it on your own. You know what? They know they can't. They know the free ride is over, and it's a wonderful thing. And we get to sit back and watch in 56 days as he indeed drains the swamp once and for all. Can't wait. I also can't wait to watch these blue state governors, these blue state mayors, these crazed ideologues go to bat for illegal aliens, go to bat for the worst people in the world. The next Jose Ibarra is out there right now. I don't know where he is, but I have a pretty good idea. He's in a blue state. He's in a blue city. He's in a free hotel with getting a free phone and a debit card and free health care, free Uber rides. Well, Tom Homan is coming for him, and I can't wait. We'll get to that and so much more. We got perhaps the single move Trump will make that will drive the media and the Democrats insane like nothing else. Trans soldiers, transgender people in the military, Trump is coming for you, and it's going to be a blast. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Want a better way to simplify finance operations for your business across expenses, vendor payments, and accounting? If so, Ramp could be a complete game changer. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. Ramp's accounting software automatically collects receipts and categorizes your expenses in real time so you don't have to. You'll never have to chase down a receipt again, and your employees will no longer spend hours submitting expense reports. Businesses that use Ramp save an average of 5% the first year, and Ramp is easy to use. Get started, issue virtual and physical cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes, whether you have 5 employees or 5,000. And now you can get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. That's RAMP.com/Gerry. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Again, get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Gerry. I'm trying to find something Trump is planning to do that is indeed unpopular with the people, with the taxpayers. I'm trying to find something that he's planning to do that will be popular with the media. There's nothing, which is how you know he's on the right track. Virtually every move he's going to make on January 20th is going to be popular with the American people and very unpopular with the mainstream media. This could be top of the list. This is just breaking today. This is from Yahoo. Donald Trump will remove all transgender members of the U.S. military from their posts, according to reports. The president-elect will use an executive order to make the move, and it could come soon as his first day in office. It will lead to the dismissal of thousands of service personnel at a time when the U.S. armed forces are struggling to meet recruitment targets. You know what? You know why the military is struggling to reach recruitment targets? Because it's gone woke. I mean, it's that simple. People like Mark Milley and Lloyd Austin have made diversity a priority. Trump and hopefully Pete Hegseth will reverse that. And I'm going to guess many of the thousands of transgender soldiers, do we really have thousands, will self-deport. They will say, this is not the military for me. How about this? He starts with no more transgender medical procedures, no more taxpayer-funded sex changes for soldiers. How do you think that will fly with the American people? Do you think most Americans want the military to pay for soldiers to transition? Here's who's going to be shown the door on January 20th. Here's a member of the U.S. military whose days are numbered. Ask yourself, is this going to be unpopular with the American people? Let's watch him.
Not a day goes by that I'm not grateful to be serving at this period of time. Being able to undergo a full gender transition beyond hormones, laser hair removal, Botox, lip injections, hair lowering, like literally cannot be more thankful to be alive now.
He's thankful that the U.S. taxpayer is paying for his laser hair removal and hair lowering. I didn't even know there was such a thing as hair lowering, but there's your tax money at work. That ends January 20th, I believe. And that is going to be celebrated by your average American taxpayer, and your average Democrat politician is going to lose his mind. Oh my God, we're removing transgender. You know what? Not that long ago, that was a way to get out of the military. I mean, most famously by Klinger in MASH. He wanted out of the military, so he pretended to be a woman, and he didn't quite get his Section 8. But that's how you get out. If you wanted out of the military, you did that. So Trump's going to do that as early as day one, and the media will lose their minds. I can't wait. That's going to be fun. But we'll get to, you know what? Let's do this Globe tweet, because it was, while we're on the topic of the transgender issue and the media, this was the most amazing tweet. Over the weekend, the Boston Globe posted a tweet and a story, which nobody read because you have to subscribe to read it. But this is almost too much to believe. Boston Globe. U.S. Representative Seth Moulton's post-election remarks on transgender issues ignited a firestorm, but it also highlighted an issue that continues to bedevil researchers. Do trans female athletes competing in girls' and women's sports have a competitive edge? Somebody type that at the Boston Globe social media department and hit send. They want to know. Do boys have an advantage over girls? Do men have an advantage over women? And it's bedeviling researchers. Here's another thing. Here's what's happening in real time. Democrats and the media are forced to lie to you. They can't tell you the truth. This is their stand. This is where they're planting their flag on this fiction that researchers can't seem to determine whether men are stronger and faster than women. Gosh, they're trying to find an answer and they just can't do it. I've never seen a ratio like this. What's the ratio at right now, Ironhead? Last I checked, there was like 80 comments, all mocking the Globe, and like 7 likes to this tweet.
We have 9 likes, 8 retweets, and 95 comments.
95, and the comments are all just my favorite comment. The men's world record for bench press is 1,400 pounds. The women's 450 pounds. You think the men in bench press bench more than 1,000 pounds more than the women, and the researchers are just bedeviled. They're bedeviled. They use that word. They're bedeviled. Researchers just can't seem to find the definitive answer. This is kind of like the point the NPR CEO is making, is that the truth is distraction. The truth is the enemy. That could be the most encouraging development here. You have a war on truth. That's what the trans ideology, the trans issue is doing. It's shining a light on one side, the side that is telling you that men don't really have an advantage. There's no evidence other than your eyes to support the premise that men have an advantage over women. That's what they're running with. And I encourage them to keep going. Yes, here's the starting gates of a swim race. That's Leah Thomas jumping off the edge of the pool. That's the XY chromosome right now, right there, versus the XX chromosome. And the Boston Globe, a once respected newspaper, which has now become just an absolute joke, want you to think researchers are bedeviled. Man, it's a mystery that may never be solved. Do men have an advantage over women? Did that Algerian boxer who beat the shit out of a bunch of women and stole a gold medal, did he actually have a physical advantage over the women? We may never know. It's just, A mystery. That's what it is. A mystery. All right, let's get to my other favorite thing that's going to happen. This is going to be better than the Super Bowl, better than the NFL playoffs. Tom Homan versus blue state governors and mayors. Tom Homan is coming to protect American citizens. He's coming to remove from your community the worst people in the world, killers, rapists, drug dealers, gang members. And this could be the best move in this 3D chess game we're playing. Homan and Trump are coming to get the bad guys. And Democrats, because they hate Trump and they in their twisted minds think somehow it's compassionate to protect rapists and murderers, are saying they're not only going to not cooperate, they're going to do everything in their power to protect the criminals, to protect the next Jose Ibarra. Maura Healey has said it in Massachusetts. Somerville, a city right outside of Boston, which has been a sanctuary city and a magnet for illegals for decades, is doubling down on their sanctuary status. They're going to protect the bad guys, and they're going to do what they can to stop Homan from going in there and arresting criminals. That's how crazy the Democrats have become. Here's the mayor of Denver, a big city, Mike Johnson, actually saying it. He called it a Tiananmen Square moment. How, I mean, if you're a Democrat, I mean, is this who you want representing you? Someone who thinks protecting criminal gang members, MS-13, is like the protesters in Tiananmen Square, like the guy who put the flour in the tank and was never seen again. He thinks he's the good guy, and Homan's the bad guy. You run with that, Mayor. Go ahead. Let's play it.
I would certainly protest it, and I would expect other residents would do the same.
Trump's new borders are Tom Homan has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate with reasonable people how to solve hard problems. Republican and Democratic presidents in the past have all tried to find solutions to these problems. President Reagan helped people get access to work so they could stay and support themselves. Biden and Harris worked on restricting entry at the border to close down. There are a lot of ways to approach this problem. We don't think it has to come to this. But yeah, I think when you look at, Ralph Carr has always been one of my heroes. He was the governor who in the middle of the internment of Japanese Americans said this was the wrong thing to do. And he stood up. It was unpopular. People were mad at him about it. That was in the middle of wartime. If the president or any of his actors are going to do things that we think are illegal or immoral or un-American, we'll stand up against them.
Oh, God. So he compares Homan and Trump coming after illegal aliens, criminals, to Japanese internment. This is your leader, Democrats. This is where your party stands right now. You are siding with the criminals. I was thinking about this over the weekend. How many people actually support what we have done for the last 4 years, putting illegal aliens in hotels, giving them money and Uber rides and food and phones, giving them free health care, allowing them to put their kids in school, overwhelming schools? How is that a good thing in any way? Haven't we learned that this is not good for Americans? It's not good for America. And yet the people we vote for, I mean, in Massachusetts, Maura Healey won by 20 points. Liz Warren Healey won by 24 points, I think. Liz Warren won by 20 points. We vote for this. In Denver, they voted for this guy who said he's willing to go to jail to protect rapists and murderers. That's who Homan's coming for. We know that. He's not starting with the abuelas. He's starting with the criminals. They should be saying, good, we need that. Taxpayers are spending billions on this madness, and it ends. And fools like this are going to get in the way. I'm telling you, I think the country would stand and applaud if we saw him handcuffed. If we saw Maura Healey in Massachusetts handcuffed, arrested. If it comes to that, good. That'll be a good day in America. to see these radicals, these lunatics who just lost their way, who think somehow protecting illegal alien criminals is their mission, is what the voters put them there for. I mean, what does she think? She would lose support among her people if she said, yeah, we got a problem. We have lots of guys in our state who are raping children, including American children. And I want to protect the rapist. She would lose support. They've just lost their minds. They look at Trump and Holman and say, he's the enemy. He's the bad guy. And they look at Jose Ibarra and say, yeah, just a bad apple, you know? It's going to be great. It's going to be a blast. January 20th. Cannot wait. All right, let's get to my congresswoman, perhaps the worst member of Congress, just an awful, awful person. I mean, you want to see someone who you look at, you say, who the hell votes for this? My neighbors, my family members vote for this. She ran unopposed on November 5th and won another term. Ayanna Pressley is a racist. Let's be honest. Everything she does and says is based on race, period. She doesn't care about illegal aliens. When there are illegal aliens in her district committing violent crimes, she doesn't say a word. Doesn't matter. The only crime she cares about is a crime. If a cop assaults a black person, she gets upset. She tweets. She screams. If an illegal alien rapes a kid at a hotel and doesn't care, doesn't matter to her. Well, she's got a new issue. She's upset that a fellow member of Congress quoted Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King would hate this woman. She is the opposite. She represents the opposite of what he stood for. You know, content of our character, not color of our skin. She's the opposite. She judges everybody on the color of their skin. Content of a character doesn't matter to this woman who's married to a violent criminal. She doesn't care. It's all about race. Everything is about race. And she's really upset that Trump is coming after DEI programs. Another move Trump will make that will be extremely popular with the American people. No more DEI. We're going to base things on merit. He's going to eliminate entire departments in the federal government devoted to DEI. And another congressman, a Republican, quoted MLK. And that just set off Ayanna Pressley and this exchange in Congress, which was great. Good.
And I'd also just like to take a personal note of privilege to say, please keep Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s name out of your mouths. Yes. Your perversion of his words and his mission when his children have asked you to stop invoking his name and perverting his work when he was a proud and unapologetic Black man fighting for equality for Black Americans and all marginalized people. So you all are entitled to your opinions, but not a denial of the facts. But I'm not surprised that you would deny American history. A colleague across the aisle invoked the phrase of, we must do everything to stop government-sponsored oppression. Well, I've just enumerated numerous examples, which is exactly why we have legislation and an executive order to reverse this harm. And that is why I'm committed to opposing this bill and urge my colleagues to do the same.
I thank my colleague, and I appreciate my Democrat colleague for exemplifying exactly the kind of oppression of freedoms that we're referencing. How about we'll quote whoever we want to quote? How about that's my First Amendment right? That's exactly the kind of baked-in oppression. Like, how dare a white Republican quote Martin Luther King? We actually had a congressman say that just now in this committee. Well, and thank you, good lady, for once again exemplifying the type of oppression that we stand against. You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Order. Mr. Higgins has the floor.
And we will quote who we please to quote.
A disgrace.
And we will continue to speak freely because I'm a veteran. That's the country that I serve. That's a constitution I swore an allegiance to. And that oath has no expiration date. I will fight for it with my last life's blood. For my right to speak freely and yours, good lady. You will never hear me saying, how dare you quote anybody you please to quote. And that exemplifies, America, precisely the type of institutional oppression that my colleague, Mr. Cloud's bill, for which I'm an original co-sponsor, hopes to push back against.
Good for Clay Higgins right there. Good for Clay Higgins. I mean, I have to apologize once again to the world, to the country. Massachusetts sends the worst people in the world to represent us. That is a congresswoman. She's berating a guy who just quoted ML and saying he has no right to quote MLK. No right. She's going to lose, which is a good thing. She's irrelevant. She's a backbencher. She's a nobody. She's not even, when people talk about the squad, they don't even mention her anymore. She's just too crazy even for them. That's what she's screaming about. A Republican making the point that ML King thought we should judge people on the content of their character. And she wants to continue to judge them on the color of their skin. Good for Higgins. And again, sorry, America. We have just the worst of the worst in Congress. It's sad. She doesn't even care about illegal alien problems we have in this state or in her district. Doesn't matter because everything's based on race and they're not white. So she's all in favor of bringing them in and just decimating communities in her own district. What a disgrace. All right. I got to get to the latest on Pete Hegseth because it's just a wild story. And I changed my mind. I think they have to go all out to get him confirmed. Is he a good husband? Is he a good father? Maybe not. But he is what the Department of Defense needs. And I think they have to fight for his confirmation and not let the media and the Democrats destroy him. We'll get to the latest on Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense nominee. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. All right, there is blood in the water. The sharks are circling around Pete Hegseth, the Donald Trump's nominee to head the Department of Defense. It was a controversial pick to begin with. You know, he's a Fox News host, and he wasn't a general. He was a major, and he didn't work in the Pentagon, and he never worked for Raytheon, which is why Trump nominated him. He's outsider. His plan is to go in there and reform the Department of Defense to end the DEI madness, to stop women in combat, and probably to spearhead Trump's effort to kick out the transgender soldiers who are getting taxpayer-funded transgender procedures. He will shake it up. He will be a disruptor, which is why Trump picked him. And apparently, he didn't tell the Trump team that he had this issue back in 2017. That might be a problem, but so far they're standing by him, and so far most Republican senators are standing by him. Now, as I said Friday, it's going to be tough to get him through the Senate. They're going to come after him with everything they got, and there's a few squishes in the Republican Party. I don't see Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski standing by this nomination. He can lose 4 senators. He can't lose more. He can lose 3. He can't lose 4. And I think they're gonna spend all their time and energy trying to destroy Pete Hegseth, and the media will cooperate. They're writing about this, talking about this as if it was a legitimate accusation of rape. All right. Let me just say, Pete Hegseth did not rape Jane Doe. If you read the police report, it's 22 pages long. There's a lot of redacted stuff, but this case is ridiculous. He did not rape her. If it was even a question, you think a California district attorney might have pressed charges? They know there was no case here. They know she had no case. As we mentioned on Friday, I'll just go over it quickly because I think if you see or hear a report from the mainstream media, they'll say, you know, it was a he said, she said, and he paid her off, and this is a serious accusation. It is not. It is not. I'll start by admitting once again that Hegseth is not a good husband. He's been married 3 times. When this happened, October 2017, he was getting divorced from his second wife because he impregnated a coworker at Fox who became his 3rd wife. He had a 2-month-old baby at home. He went to California as the featured speaker at this event for Republican women in Monterey, California. He was at the Hyatt Hotel. He gave a speech, and then they hung around and drank, and he ended up bringing Jane Doe back to his hotel room. Her claim was that she thought she was drugged, which is absurd. There's videotape of her at 1:30 in the morning looking fine. There were witnesses who said she looked fine. She didn't look drunk. He did. He was drunk. He was stupid. He took her back to his room. And then she claimed, while her husband and her children were down the hall in the same hotel, her husband was panicking because she didn't come back to the room. He was calling, texting her. She was ignoring him. He went down to the bar looking for her at 2 or 3 in the morning because he was wondering where she was. She didn't allege rape for days later. And she said her memory was triggered about the incident after she went home with her husband and had sex with her husband. She remembered being raped. This is her story. Her story. She got drunk. She thought she might be drugged. According to witnesses, she had 1 glass of champagne. They had an argument by the pool at 1:30 in the morning, according to witnesses, and hotel staff was called. She said they were arguing about how he treated women. She told police he gave up a creeper vibe. And then she said she didn't know how she got to his room. There's videotape. They walked arm in arm to his room. And again, she did not appear drunk. They went to the room. They had sex. They even talked about what positions, that told police what positions they were in, including her on top. So she was raped. It's just not believable. She made up, but she told him, Pete Hegseth, that she would tell her husband that she fell asleep in somebody's room, and that's why she missed his calls and texts. Her husband told police the same story, that she said she fell asleep. So she told Hegseth that's what she would say, and she said it. And she didn't remember, she said she was in a fog, didn't remember anything. Why? You think Pete Hegseth drugged her at 2 a.m, was carrying date rape drug around the hotel? Apparently he was hitting on some other women, but not her. Her story is just not believable, which is why they didn't charge him. His story is much more believable. He was stupid. He went back to his room with her at 2 a.m, spent about an hour and a half in the room with her. She left, went back to her family, and he passed out. And then he paid her some money to keep the story secret. She went to a nurse or a hospital, and they called police. They brought police into it 5 days after the alleged incident. It's just, and we don't have her name, and she probably won't testify, but he'll be asked about this, and he'll have to defend his behavior. Now, again, if you're picking a good husband, a good Christian, maybe he's not the guy. But if you're picking a Secretary of Defense, a soldier, a guy with 2 Bronze Stars, a guy who fought in combat, a guy who's written books about the war on warriors in the military, about what it takes to reform the military, he is the guy. He is the guy. And I don't think I can handle Democrats going off on a guy for being unfaithful to his wife. You know, the people who supported Bill Clinton, the people who ignored the stories about Doug Emhoff, they're suddenly going to find religion and ask him about cheating on his wife, because that's what he did. He cheated. It wasn't even his wife. He cheated on the mother of his child, who became his 3rd wife. He was not married. She was, and her husband was down the hall. Her story is ridiculous. He didn't rape her. He shouldn't have done this. He was stupid. He was not faithful. But the media is going to tell you that it was a serious rape charge. It was not. That's why they didn't charge him. They didn't pursue it. They knew. The cops knew. The DA knew. It was ridiculous. But that won't stop the media. Get ready. They're already reporting it and leaving out lots of salient facts that will exonerate him on this. It's not going to be easy. They're going to come at him hard, and he better be ready. And the Republicans are going to have some spine here and stand by him. As Victor Davis Hanson pointed out, George Patton had an affair with his stepniece. Eisenhower had an affair with his assistant. Sometimes these military men, they're not perfect family men, but we need a soldier. We need a reformer. We need a disruptor. And I think Pete Hegseth is the guy. So I hope they stand by him. I have my doubts, but I hope they stand by him. We will see. All right, before we go, I want to mention this because, today's theme is Democrats taking insane positions. On January 1, 2025, in 6 states, including Massachusetts, they're banning the sale of gas-powered RVs. Yes, the party of the working people, they're going to put RV dealers out of business in 36 days. That's how long that they're going to. There's your warning. RV salesmen, and I just looked it up. There's dozens of RV dealers. They're going to go out of business because Democrats decided RVs are, destroying the planet. So people like Gavin Newsom, who fly around in private jets, who just bought a $9 million home, are telling you RVs are just destroying the weather, and we have to ban them. That's your Democrat Party, banning RVs, which are often used by working class people, regular people. That's what they do. They buy RVs and they travel around when they retire. No more. You can't have a gas-powered RV. You can buy electric RV, which costs a lot more and will not help, will not save the industry. That's where we're at right now. No more RVs. No more gas-powered RVs. We must save the planet. God, this is madness. And shudder to think if somehow Democrats had put up a capable nominee, where would we be right now? Where would it be? I mean, we'd be continuing down this downward spiral of just woke insanity. Well, we'll see what happens. I hope people can just cross the border in another state and buy their RV, but I feel bad for the people who open these businesses, who run these businesses, who rely on them. They're done. They're out of work. Their livelihood is over because these insane Democrats think they can change the weather by banning RVs. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now in America. Don't want any more Winnebagos, Clark, whatever his name is, in Europe in vacation. Sorry, no more RVs.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, Cousin Eddie. That was online. I'm not a big fan. It's just one, stupid thing Chevy Chase does after another. Not a big fan of that movie, but hey.
Christmas Vacation's a classic, though.
Yeah, I mean, I love Randy Quaid, but I'm not a big Chevy Chase fan. No, doesn't make me laugh. Sorry, got to admit. But anyway, we will leave it there for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.